Hello. So hopefully the notification goes out for this. I think recently the notifications have been going out fine for the streams. So for anybody just clicking on and wondering what the title is, it's just because I'm a bit pissed off about random things. I thought, let's have a stream where we just moan about shit. Tell you what, if people want to talk a little bit about politics in this stream, they're probably welcome to. Yeah, your first mic. And the things just jumped up. Don't forget to like the stream if you come on. And if you want to support the channel, you can either donate via Super Chat in the sidebar there. There's like a little dollar symbol you click at the bottom to do that. You can donate via Patreon below. Thank you to my patrons again because I cashed that out today. And that's gone towards stuff. And you can buy the merch below. Bart's getting the XM28 drawn at the moment. So within a week or so, you should start seeing the XM28 merch, turning up around then. So yeah, this is a stream where people can complain about shit if they want to. Obviously, don't do anything racist or anything like that. If people even want to moan about politics, they're allowed in this one. Yeah, the GP5's fine, to be honest, in my house. The thing is, it's like the world's most mass-produced mask. There's one up there, obviously, behind me. It was good for what it was designed for, protecting people from fallout and, chemical and biological weapons. It's a very basic mask, but I'd rather have a basic mask issued to me than no mask, So a person with a GP5 in his profile picture says the GP5 is trash. Right, okay. What, Flanders from The Simpsons? I've not really been following Nautilus. It's something to do with gun rights, isn't it? That's all kicking off, but I've not really been following it. I like FN Norbert, and they're Belgian, and the only things I really like from Belgium are beer, chocolate, and guns, but I suppose HK is pretty good as well. There's companies like Enfield that sadly aren't really around anymore that used to make good guns and then kind of went downhill before collapsing. Well, I mean, technically, the GP5 is a derivative of the Shum 41, and so is the OM14, but eventually, Standard McVan, isn't it the end of this month? Technically, we go into the transition period where we leave the EU. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, truly. Are you saying how would you find a particular size? Probably go on somewhere like AliExpress and see what sizes are listed, because a lot of the time they're either just listed all as like one bulk list, or they just send you a random size out, or they'll list them as like small, medium, large. Right, Richard? Well, again, the problem is if you're talking about gas mask sizes, is different brands and different series of masks are generally all sized differently. So your size in a GP5 would probably be different on a different mask. Now, you can generally, if you know you're a medium in one size mask, it will translate to most other masks, but it's not always the same. It depends, Chris. The thing is, if it's somebody that's going to complain that the GP5 is cheap, and then, for that reason, but the thing is, I like what its point was in history, that the Soviet Union actually did make a mass-produced civilian mask. I mean, they did the GP4s as well and a few others, but the thing is, a GP5, at least you got a mask. In Britain, you wouldn't have got a mask because the C7 project was cancelled. The Yanks cancelled their civilian mask projects. So at least the shitty commie block masks, they had masks. But yeah, if you want a good mask today, don't buy a GP5. But yeah, my opinion on it when people ask me about the GP5 is it's fine for what it was in a historical context, but I wouldn't really choose one as a preferential mask. Yep. Speaking of World War II stuff, I tell you what I have got a load of, which might be actually good to test all of these and see if they actually work for their intended purpose. Just a moment. Just get them out. There we go. These things. People recognise these? You'll notice I've taken the mirrors off with good reason. Let's see if both of these point in the same direction. Oh, yeah, so I assume both of these are working. I've either got 4 or 5 of these now. I'm trying to remember if I've got 4 or 5. I've bought some more again on eBay as well, because these generally go pretty cheap, and I like the fact they contain radium paint. That's the main reason I buy them. But these are the old Bakelite British World War II magnetic marching compasses. That's what they sort of look like. But yeah, these can actually be fairly hot in terms of radiation. The worst bit is there's a mirror behind there, and there's radium paint all the way down the mirror in like a big stripe. That's where most of the heat comes from. So what I do is I'll do a video on this when the next one comes, is use a jeweler's screwdriver, take the mirror off, put the mirror in a sealed bag so I can store it as a check source and you don't risk flaking radium everywhere. There'll be one coming up, Chris, on the M85 when I get that, but otherwise I don't think, no, because I don't think I've seen anything that I've not got yet. Again, if people want to suggest certain things to do with certain masks on certain videos, then there's that. I'll be filming a video soon as well on testing loads of different masks with the battle skin, or whatever they call it, revision, and the pulsar, you know, testing how well certain masks work using the pulsar. But at the moment it's more I'll wait for people to suggest good ideas for gas mask videos, because I've kind of run out of ideas I want to do with them. Yeah, let me see, where did I put my therapy? Yeah, it's over there, and we'll see what sort of readings we get off of these. Because the radium in this bit doesn't worry me too much, because when radium is sealed, if I can just get this one open again. When it's sealed in there, obviously it's not going to come out because it's inside the actual glass bit. But the issue is, let's just put the speaker back on. The issue with obviously the bit of radium they put on the mirror bit is it's just literally old chipping radium paint that's completely exposed as soon as you open it. I thought I put the speaker on, and did it just change into the different thing? Hang on. Dose rate. There we go. Order. That's just a gamma coming out of it. So yeah, that bit isn't particularly hot, what's actually under there. It's just if people want to moan about stuff, they can moan, David. There was something I was going to moan about in a minute. I wonder if they're both roughly similar. So what's this one getting? 6 point something? I'll check the other one. I've got more of these, but they're all sealed in a box. Oh, that's getting 10 at that angle. It's gone down to 8 again. 9. Right, let's see what the other one does. I reckon this one's slightly hotter than the other one. Yeah, it's just quite interesting. You can get so many old radium items that are No, I'm not a fan of our gas masks. I post on the R God Discord now. I don't post on Reddit. Thank you very much. Well, I already did a video on the PMK3. Did you not see it? If you mean, will I do one where I gas myself in the bathroom? Sure, I can do that if people want me to, but I'm sure the mask will pass because it's a modern mask. I've already said my opinion on the PMK3. It's better than the PMK1. It's still not a good mask. Well, the problem is with mask prices, it will completely vary on if you're looking at second-hand price inflation. So it's kind of a pointless video. I don't want to say like sound like I'm saying that because it's not a good idea, full stop. But I mean, I can do videos like I'll have a look on eBay and I'll see what masks currently cost what and if it's a good mask for that price. But prices are kind of so, much, inflate and change so much. That's kind of pointless. I wonder how active this side of it is. You still get a fair bit of activity coming through this side, though. I don't play Arma 2 online, so I don't play Arma 2 servers, obviously. Yeah, so if people didn't guess what these were, British World War II marching compasses, you can generally get these pretty cheap. But as I said, be very aware there's radium in it. Yeah, let's see how much it glows in the dark, if I've got the flashlight handy. I might have put it on the front. Oh, no, there it is. If I miss your question and you want to ask a question, just ask it again, because generally if I'm distracted by things... Oh, they actually put a lot of radium in these. Because obviously the radium is obvious, like the brown bits you see there. But if you look all around the white bit of the dial, there's radium all over that as well. That's pretty cool. See it? Ooh. I don't know, I find radium fascinating. It's scary stuff. There's a bit of radium there, look. And that isn't actually protected. So be aware, even when you take the mirror out, there's still a couple of little bits. I've not got many different pairs of binoculars. My best pair of binoculars is a really old Japanese pair from like some point in the 70s that I got in an antique shop. But yeah, let's see how active that little bit of radium is there. Yeah, the point is it's still quite hot. I don't know if these as well have radium on this little bit. Let's see. See that bit there? Oh yeah, it sounds like they do. Yes, they certainly do. Bloody hell. So yeah, let's see how hot this one is in comparison. Filters don't come with clay. What about the Russian underwater assault rifle? I probably missed the previous thing you were saying about. Oh, what, with all the technology? I think in all reality, if the Cold War went hot, the superpowers had nuked each other, everybody would have died. So yeah, I never really noticed that before, but yeah, notice that there's a bit of radium there as well. So yeah, that's why I keep these kind of sealed away when I'm not handling them. Bit there as well. Well, you kind of have to factor in SpongeBob. It's something that could potentially save your life. So if you're saying, oh, well, my life isn't, worth $40, or 40 euros or whatever, I don't think most people would say that. I mean, I can understand it in the factor of if it's something you think is a very low priority, it's better to have something than nothing, but... Norbert, I actually said people can talk a little bit about politics on today's stream, just simply because it was going to be like, a moan about shit stream if people wanted to do that. So what I was going to moan about is I was meant to have a hospital appointment yesterday. I was waiting 4 months to have because they'd already delayed it once. Then I found out at the last minute they'd moved it from one hospital where I booked it at to a different hospital that's further away and not easy to get to. So now I've had to cancel the appointment. So yeah, that was 4 months of waiting for nothing. What thing do I get if I put both those little bits of radium in front of it? I've turned the buzzer off, but... yeah, it's surprisingly hot though, isn't it? Getting 20 odd on there. I suppose if I held it that way, you could get it right against the bit there, but yeah. The point is that, these old compasses are fairly hot when it comes to radiation. No, I don't sell any masks, but if you wanted to buy an M50, just go on eBay and they turn up on there every now and then. Depends how much you want to pay, of course, but you won't have an issue finding M50s. It's just whether or not they're in your price range is the main thing. But yeah, so that annoyed me. It was just I've been waiting like originally, I went to the doctors about what I wanted to see from it. It was just basically where I had a cut that kept bleeding, and the doctor's like, "Oh yeah, you need to have that seen by a dermatologist and cut off." So I was like, "All right then." And then I got one of those forms where, you know, you have to book an appointment. So you choose like which hospital you want to go to in the nearby area that can do it. So I booked the appointment at the closest hospital, like the one that's easiest to drive to, you know, as in you can drive and park nearby for free, because that's what I wanted to do. And it was the one that, you know, is obviously the decent choice. So I wanted to get that one. And then I was told basically, wow, and this was in September, by the way, you couldn't have any appointments until the start of December. So I thought, fuck it, that's ages, but oh, what, you know, long waiting time. I guess it's not a critical thing. And then, yep, then, you know, like a week before your appointment, they reschedule it, saying, you know, it's now, you know, like in January. And then it was only when I got the letter out today, because you're meant to take the letter along with you to your appointment, I saw in the like small print, they said, we've, you know, changed it from the appointment you booked it at, like the hospital, to a different hospital. Well, that's pointless now, isn't it? Because I can't park at this other one, so I can't get there. So, you know, it's that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with Richard there. I think if you ever worked with stuff which could have long life consequences on it, most people doing that would definitely say 40 euros isn't, you know. Like I said, it was a dermatology thing. It was because I had like a weird cut that wasn't healing over properly. So the doctor said I'd have to go and, you know, get a specialist to basically just cut a bit of skin off and, like, you know, re-stitch it or something. But it's kind of healed over on its own eventually anyway. And I just said to one of my mates earlier on, I was like, you know, because now I've cancelled that appointment and it says, you know, I'd have to book and wait 3 months again or whatever to VC. And I said, I'll just get some fucking wire cutters and cut the bit off myself if I need to. But I don't think it'll be a problem. Yeah, the thing is, like, I think a lot of people, like what David just said, forget, is that you can often be working, you know, even if you're doing stuff around the house or whatever, you can sometimes need to work with chemicals that are potentially dangerous if you inhale them. Well, I think from a heat flash, the main worry is that your face and all your exposed skin would have burnt off before your lungs get damaged. So, you know, at that point, if you've got third-degree burns all over your skin, I think burns to your lungs are probably not all that big in consideration. No, I do not have asbestosis. I think I would know at this point if I had it, because I'd be going, you know, constantly trying to breathe, like when people completely fuck their lungs from smoking all their life. I didn't know there was any upcoming remasters. Well, EA killed Westwood. My favourite Command & Conquer was the very original one, but I've been playing Generals a bit recently. The FM12 series is still produced, so that would be the latest one. Avon do the M50 series, the C50, the M53, is it the FM53, FM54 at the moment? But the FM12 they still do produce. So I assume CT12s by extension as well. Any of the masks East Germany use jammy. So the Shum 41, which is essentially the GP5 with a bigger metal valve on it. GP5M, as in the PMG2, as in that one that's over that corner, because in either grey or black, because East Germany use those as well, as far as I'm aware. Or the Shums, or probably the PBF and the M10, I think East Germany used as well. So most, you know, like Warsaw Pact Soviet masks East Germany used, because they just bought them in bulk from the Soviets. Right, Cougar, you've been blocked now because you said fucking weird things on loads of the other streams. And if you come and say, oh, why are helmets and, you know, respirators and all that stuff garbage, then fuck off while you're watching the videos. So you only have yourself to blame for that. Yep, thank you for reminding me. I might film that tomorrow, the EDC video, because some people have asked me, could I do an updated one a while ago? I think going back to like November. And I kept saying yes and forgetting, and I can include stuff like the therapy in it now. So yeah, I'll try and get round to filming the EDC video tomorrow if I remember. What do you mean by the Chernobyl movie? If you mean the Chernobyl TV series, I thought that was really well done. But if there's a movie, then I'm not sure which one you mean. Because there's been quite a lot of made-for-TV movies about Chernobyl before, but none of them done as well as a HBO series. I've got the book of 1984, I've seen the Peter Cushing version of 1984 and the John Hurt version of 1984, and I've read the book a couple of times. Very good book. The book's better than both the films, but still both the films are good. Because the M40 came out in the 90s, F4 Phantom. Like most things, doesn't matter if they're good. If they're old, they generally get replaced anyway. Well, the helmets that originally went with the S10 would be the Mark IV helmet, the Mark 6, Mark 6A, Mark 7, and the battle skin fits completely fine with an S10 as well, in like FM12, CT12. There'll be other helmets as well from different nations that fit with an S10, but at least with an S10 it seems most helmets fit without much issue. The top ridge, though, that goes along the S10 might cause problems. I'd imagine a few grand, Sam, if I was to sell all of it and get decent prices for it. But remember, all this stuff is only worth what people are willing to pay for it. So, you know, generally you always spend more on this stuff than you could ever get back if you sell it, because I'm more of an enthusiast, if that makes sense. You know, where if people sell stuff like this, I think a lot of the time they just sell it, you know, wanting to get rid of it quickly, don't they? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, old man, because you die if there's not enough oxygen, full stop. Respirators don't provide you with oxygen unless you're wearing like one that has, you know, an air tank on it or a rebreather. The sort of gas mask style respirators, they filter air that exists. So if there's no oxygen, they're not going to help you at all, full stop. Oh, that's cool, Stefan. It's a really old video I did on the DP66. But yeah, hopefully the video was useful. But as I said, that's a really old video, the DP66. That was the first proper Geiger counter I had, and I don't even have that anymore because I gave it to Bart to repair, and I said he could keep it once he'd repaired it. Yeah, it's the Russian one. Piotr's going to try and get me the visor for it at some point. But yeah, it's a good helmet. I like it a lot more than the British ones. The Mark III Guardian's pretty good, but annoyingly my one was not in my size, despite the fact it was advertised as it. But the main thing with this one, if I can get the belt to undo, there we go. Yes, Nate, search my channel. Generally when people say, have you done a video on this, the answer is yes. As you can see, though, the main thing that's really good with these Russian helmets is how good the foam is on them. These are much better than British helmets in terms of how well they've done all the cushioning on the inside. The British ones are basically where somebody's just glued little felt, you know, like foam pads onto the sponge stuff, or like the polystyrene stuff in them. Don't use the green filter, this is the captain. Also, for you, this is the captain. I'd filmed that video today on all of my aircraft dials put together. The amount of clicking from the Geiger counters was pretty insane when I had them all lined up, just, you know, moving them back and forth in front of them. No, as I've said on every stream recently, have I seen 1917? No. Do I plan on watching it? No. There you go. But hello, Peach, as well to you. S6 to Pacific Ocean, but somebody else has already answered him. It's just I've not really got any interest in it, in all honesty. It's one of those things where if it was on Amazon Prime or a Netflix type thing, I'd watch it, but I'm not going to go out to the cinema to watch it because I just don't really have enough interest in it. Probably this one, V, because I actually really like this helmet now. Now I've got one. So I will be shilling them. Not that I make anything from it, but they're good. That's cool, Peach. Tell you what, whether timed out, Mike timed out. You've got your block now, SpongeBob, because you were pissing people off on every stream recently, so you've been timed out again, so you're not learning your lesson, are you? You've got your fuck off ticket now. I really don't know, Abdo. I just guess I've always found it interesting. You know, some people, like I say, collect stamps or whatever. I just collect stuff that has a history of people killing each other with it. So that's my thing. My granddad was in World War II and he used to talk to me about World War II, so I guess that's where some of my interest from it's come from. But, you know, I don't really know the exact answer, in all honesty. I think it's just one of those things I've always found pretty fascinating, and then when you have a chance to collect it, I wanted to. I don't think he's a troll, Ethel Phantom. I just think he's a bit of an idiot. Because he's one of those people that comes on and whinges that his alternative account got blocked. And then, you know, he does nothing but piss people off every time and then go, oh, but why are you being mean to me? There's pictures online of how to do it, that M17 guy, but you basically need to get pliers and put them in. I might do a video trying it with my GSR because I've always wanted to do it. I've seen photos of people doing it, so I know you can legit do it. I've just never bothered, but maybe I'll do a video because people keep going to me, can you do a video on it? And I keep saying, well, I don't really want to get my, you know, GSR in non-working condition. But then I'll probably end up buying another GSR when the Avon ones eventually start getting sold as surplus anyway. And I'd never really use my GSR for anything, so I might as well. How do blocks work on YouTube? When the person's blocked, they can't comment on videos or live streams. That's basically just it. They can still watch, they can still thumbs up or thumbs down. It's just, you know, on live streams, it can get pretty irritating when you have people constantly trying to piss other people off or spamming the chat. And SpongeBob's one of those guys who, for the last few streams he's been on, he's constantly been causing arguments with people. And he's had plenty of warnings, so, you know. That's strange. You think it would be lower, wouldn't you, Chris? Because I'd have thought with, like, the bayonet filter system, you'd have less air flowing in them more. I'd be very interested, actually, to take it off one side and see how the resistance compares with 140mm on it and one, you know, other one. Somebody doing the, I'm not meant to be rude, but I'm being a cunt in the comments, so goodbye. No, that was practical fab gaming. Yeah, I commented on that. What model is the DP63? I'd assume it's a Geiger counter, is it? Or is it like, what's it, an ion chamber radiation thing? But yeah, I said to you in a comment, I assume they just put radium under something to make it luminescent, and obviously then stuff with radium on. As I was showing earlier in the video, if you didn't see it, like these old compasses, Stefan, because you like this Geiger counter stuff, don't you? These old radium compasses, if you use radium to make them glow, they also happen to be pretty radioactive. So it's actually a proper Geiger counter, is it? Yeah. That's just, I haven't seen them before. Let me Google it, because I had a look on eBay, but couldn't see any for sale. So, DP63 Geiger counter. Ah, I've definitely seen those before. It's got quite a nice look to it, hasn't it? Is this the one that came before the DP5 by the look of it? Yeah, I'd assume from the brown look of the dial, it's probably radium under there, because radium goes brown as it gets older. So, like with these, I'll just get the other flashlight. Where is he? I think it's this one. So yeah, with radium, when radium ages, it kind of just goes that ugly brown colour. If it wants to focus. Come on. Yeah, but anyway, so radium loses its lume over time, so it doesn't really glow. But obviously originally it was used because it glowed in the dark. But over time it just kind of goes like an ugly brown colour and doesn't really have any lume left in it anymore. Because the radium, I think, used to glow because radium glowed from being radioluminescent, and then they mixed it with a zinc that also glowed in the dark. But the issue was, obviously, over time, the radium would eat into the other materials and then just basically destroy them, and then it wouldn't glow in the dark anymore. I guess I could truly Britsy, but there's plenty of other people that could do that. No, I've not heard of the bunker shop. No. You don't need to spam the question. I did see it the first time, but yeah, I've not been there or heard of it. But if they got stuff at... Yep, that's the stuff, zinc sulfide. Thank you, David. But yeah, they mixed the radium with it, didn't they, in the paint to actually get it to stick and to glow. It's why if you always look at the old aircraft dials, they seem to always look very brown. It's because, you know, you can kind of see what they look like when the luminescence has gone. Yeah, so Brighton's definitely not my area. As in the original US M9 and M9A1. The problem is they're very out of date now. The Finnish M61 is probably the best variant of the M9. If you can get a Finnish M61 for a good price, they're very good with a 60 to 40mm adapter on it, obviously, but due to the age. That's good, David. But yeah, like I said, police stab vests are very good, aren't they? Especially because you can often get them very good prices as surplus, because they basically have to retire them after a certain period of time due to all the health and safety laws on them. I've already done several videos on that Goku, but I will do an updated one. That'd be cool. This is the captain, but I've got probably quite a lot on order at the moment, so I'll wait for all those to come, because there'll be a point where I won't want any more just due to the safety reasons of having too many, which you can probably imagine. Oh, the Serbian M2 is actually in 40mm. It's a shame more M9 clones didn't do what they did with the M2. But yeah, if somebody means original M9 masks, the M2 isn't really one of those. But yeah, I will do an updated helmet video at this one, because I can obviously include this one in it and a few other helmets. I don't go cycling, Aleko. So if I did, I would wear a bicycle helmet, but I don't go cycling. If I did, obviously, I said I'd wear a helmet, because if you fall off a bike and smack your head on concrete, you can fucking kill yourself or give yourself brain damage. So I would, but I don't go cycling. I've got a car, you know, which for me is a lot more practical. There's the Serbian M3, I think it's called, F4 Phantom, which is basically an M40 clone, but I've never seen one for sale. S6 is very cool. I like the S6 a lot. Yeah, I certainly won't do that fab gaming for obvious reasons. I have never seen that on tracking info before. Have you tried Googling it, Antonio? But message the seller potentially if there's a problem, but you can get lots of weird messages on the tracking history as long as it's still moving through the system. I never really bother. I've done a video reviewing it. The SM67 is alright. It's not a brilliant mask. It's quite comfy. Good enough for when it was made, I guess, but woefully obsolete now. You know, no voice diaphragm, no real anti-fogging sort of system in it. That would be the American Mickey Mouse, Chardell. I mean, there's other masks that were like made with like one or two each, you know, like prototype masks, but I'd say the US Mickey Mouse one is probably the most well-known of all the unobtainium masks. Which size one is it, Pedro? Because there's quite a few different types of Chinese filters. There's like Chinese NBC style filters, Chinese industrial filters, the useless Chinese refillable filters. It would really depend which type you mean. There aren't stream rules other than don't be a dick to people. Which should be something, you know, most people would never get blocked for if they're not being dicks. But, you know, some people can't help but say, oh, you know, blah, 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 blah. Is the PDF-7 the, like, late model Soviet children's mask? If it is, it's the one I've got, and I've already done a video on it. If not, then I don't have one, so I can't really say if I like it or not. Because if I don't have it, I can't evaluate how good it is. Yep. It's because mine bends are quite often with international shipping. What happens is it goes from one courier to another. So then, of course, your courier information is going to stop, isn't it, when it goes from one courier to another, unless they give you a new tracking number. But, you know, like if it was sent via the US Postal Service, say, in America, and then it got to another country and was handled by a different shipping company, Parcel Force or, you know, whoever aren't going to keep updating you on what another company's doing with it. Nope. As I've already said over and over again, Pigpad Moon, I'm hoping to go this year, but at the moment it's actually really annoying trying to book like the tours there, like the properly done ones. Because it turns out a lot of the time, you know, like you have to sort out all the flights and everything separately, and I just can't be asked to do that. I'd rather just pay more and get an all-inclusive holiday. If they're not doing that, then I won't bother. The Avon CT12, the answer doesn't change no matter how many times people ask it. I thought you lot would know that by now. What's your favourite mask? The Avon CT12. Yeah, but what's your favourite mask? Well, if they were selling it cheap, Harris, and you managed to get it, that's fairly good, isn't it? Right, Pedro, how it works is, say you get the yellow one, that's acidic vapor. I've got the yellow one, and that's, I think, rated number 3 on the ABEX system, but particle 1. I've done a video on them anyway, but so if it's brown, it would be like essentially A3P1. If it's like the grey colour, it would be B3P1. It's the same thing as the Western system, just they do the particle rating in a different way. Specific Ocean, you do know, like on every stream I get asked, can you do MRE videos? No. But why don't you do MRE videos? It does get quite fucking irritating, to be honest. Because I don't understand why when I say to some people I don't want to do a video on something, people keep asking me to do it. Yep. As the title of the stream says, you can do if you want to. Meal ready to eat, overpriced military rations, basically. The thing is, MREs are very practical if you live in one of those places where you can get them for a decent price. But, you know, the thing that irritates me is the fact that on eBay, most MRE sets like £20 to £30 for essentially 2,000 to 3,000 calories worth of food. It's just a stupid way of wasting money, in my opinion, unless your channel is based around MREs. I've been a few times. This is the captain. If you're wondering why I blocked somebody, it's because he asked a weird question and he says, why don't I own an AR-15? Because I'm in Britain. But yeah, the point is with like MREs is if you're an MRE sort of channel, it makes sense. But wasting 20 to 30 pounds, I could literally get a gas mask for a thing you eat once and the video, you can't do any more videos on it. It's a bit pointless. Yeah, well, I mean, that's if you're lucky, Peach. I've not even seen them for that price. If you're going for like specific military models that people want you to get for videos, then they're like 20 to 30 pounds. So they're almost like collector's items. But yeah, going back to the airsoft thing, my nearest airsoft site's like 30 odd miles away. They only do 1 game a month on a Sunday. I work weekends, so, you know, it's just not very practical to do airsofting. And again, £10 for 2,000 calories worth of food is a bit of a waste of money, in my opinion. I'm just saying, you know. As said, I don't want to sound like I'm getting really frustrated on this. It's just generally, almost every stream at this point, somebody goes, why don't you get an MRE? And when I explain why I don't want to do videos on MREs, people just keep coming up with different reasons why I should get MREs. Completely missing the point. Mike's done some good videos, that's Weapon Collector though, where you can literally make your own MREs if you want to, for barely any money, that are just as many calories. Oh, it's been ages since I've been at school. Jitaru, or Jitaro, if that's your name, how it's pronounced. Yeah. Our school bathroom wasn't too bad where we were. It always stank of cigarettes, and there was graffiti everywhere, but it wasn't too bad. It's a bit of a shithole. But I know another local school as well where people used to, throw shit on the walls and piss on toilet paper and then throw that on the walls. So our one wasn't as bad as that. It just stank like shit and was really messy. I don't think they ever really bothered cleaning it, but I don't know, Techstorm. I think if you were careful about it, you probably wouldn't ruin the mask. I mean, you'd ruin its resale value, but PMK1, for instance, doesn't have resale value anyway. But, I think if you did it carefully, you would make the mask still usable for yourself, probably more usable. Yeah, exactly, shout out. I don't think even Americans can, in most states, can do that, can they? Because I'm pretty sure there's lots of legislation, even in the US, on certain things like that. It should do, Pedro, but not all the hoses are standardized, because apparently Hype was saying it depends on which manufacturer does them. So, it's a bit of a crapshoot, I guess, unless you're buying it, unless you know which exact model to get. If it will be or not. Mine seems to be pretty well normalized. But in general, GOST filters always fit into NATO threads, but NATO threads don't fit into GOST threads. That's why 40mm DIN is kind of better than both, but sadly it's an obsolete kind of filter format. I've never EDC'd Farb Gel. This is a captain, unless you're talking to somebody else. But I've never EDC'd it because, to me, it seems a bit pointless because, again, it doesn't really do anything other than stain somebody, and a cop could still think you're carrying pepper spray, and you could still go through a load of bullshit of being arrested, charged and all that, only for them to say, oh, we tested it and we found out it wasn't pepper spray. What's the ACF? Unless you're talking to somebody else. I've met Weapon Collector. That's about as far as I go, Fab Gaming. Get to moaning, then unnamed. Wouldn't I be a bit old for that? I'd have medically unfit to serve even if I wanted to in the regular army. The thing is, I can understand the point of Farb Gel in terms of, it makes somebody identifiable, but I'd almost see Farb Gel more useful if it was set as like a thing, like an automated thing, like if somebody tried to break into a cache point, like it would spray Farb Gel on them then. Because the thing is with Farb Gel, is if somebody mugged you, all they'd do is run away, hide, and just wouldn't come out for a day, would they, until they'd got it all scrubbed off. Oxfordshire sort of area, Shardell, I won't say more than that. I did have to block somebody like a week or two ago because they were trying to guess where my location was, and I guess they didn't realise that's like a really kind of no antisocial thing to do. So they were listing off like loads of the villages around Oxfordshire, and they were going, oh, you in this one, you in that one. I reckon I saw somebody who looked like you, and then they were listed, and I thought, what a fucking creeper thing to do. Yeah, exactly, Mike. That's how I'd see them being more practical than a carry item, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. Somebody essentially trying to almost soft dox me by saying, oh, do you go to this local area? Because I've seen someone that looks a bit like you there. And although they didn't guess my location, they did say some that were close enough to me that made me think, that's really fucking not on. As far as I'm aware, I'm not an American. You still need to do, paperwork for pretty much every gun in America. I know sometimes it can be quite, not very much you need to do, like at gun shows, but you still, can't simply just go over, say, here's some money, give me a gun, and walk off. Yeah, your phone tried to dox you, Mike. Who knows? A lot of the laws don't make sense. I think the more you look into more laws, the less and less sense they make. Well, airsoft gas masks aren't gas masks. That'd be like asking a channel that does videos on real cars to review kids' toy cars. About 150 Goku. Airsoft gas masks are basically just plastic masks that are meant to look like gas masks. They have like no filtering technology or nothing. Yeah, this person said does, and then they put a name of a local place. It's not where I live, but it is actually not too far away from me. And then, like, ring any bells? It's like, oh, fuck off, you creep. Sorry, suppose this is a good stream for me to moan on, at least, about it, if I'm being a bit of a moany prick tonight, because, it fits the title of the stream, doesn't it? Probably because the Russians don't want to go to 40mm NATO, I'd assume. Even if, nearly everywhere else has gone to NATO. I think China still uses GOST as well, Hype was saying, but... Right, in Britain, how it worked is babies were given that kind of crib pumping thing, where the mother had to pump them or the baby would suffocate to death. Toddlers had the Mickey Mouse style bright colour mask. Children and adults, once they would sort of in the size for it, just had this regular civilian respirators. I really don't know. Read the gov.uk legislation on it. I guess then read the police one, see if they conflict each other. But it's written in legalese by people who don't know the weapons, or like the tools, I should say. So don't ask me, because I wouldn't know. Well, the foul isn't on the wall, is it, at the moment? But YouTube changed the policy where you cannot handle anything like a firearm in live streams. That's why none of them are visible now. And as we've said over and over again, YouTube probably doesn't know the difference between a deactivated firearm, a live firearm, toy guns, replicas, and whatever else. So, because it's YouTube policy. If you keep this up, you're literally going to get a block, because literally the rules on YouTube say I can't do it. Don't question me why I can't, do it when it's the rules on YouTube. Probably the people who've been blocked so far, I'd guess, this stream. Well, I already explained it to you. I explained it politely to begin with, and then you kept pushing it. Exactly. This is the annoying thing with YouTube. It just keeps getting worse and worse in terms of like rules, where add more and more rules. The thing I think that annoys most people with YouTube is when there's actually serious problems on YouTube that lots of creators report upon, YouTube doesn't do anything about them. It explodes in their face, and then they go over the top of like rule legislation on it. So it basically be, when it was like all the creepy kid stuff kept happening, and loads of YouTube creators said, why is there like this borderline paedophile content on YouTube? And Google basically just didn't care. And then, of course, when they get called up on it by the media, or, they end up getting sued, then all of a sudden, that's when, they suddenly start doing over-the-top rules on absolutely everything. Which is, that's what ends up, I think, annoying a lot of creators on here, is regardless of what you do as your kind of type of videos, they never kind of want to listen until it's too late, and then they kind of hit everybody with like a massive kind of nuke rather than just scalpel, precision fixing the problems. You've just reminded me of one of the weirdest Reddits I've ever had the displeasure of posting on, Shardell, the Nerf Reddit. If you use the word Nerf gun and not the word Nerf blaster on the Nerf Reddit, they give you a temporary ban and give you a warning saying you can't use the word gun on the Nerf Reddit. How sad are people like that, eh? Copper doesn't affect me at all, to be honest, but I could certainly see it being annoying for people who do kind of kids and young adult sort of level of videos aimed at them, because they've kind of just been fucked over now because YouTube didn't deal with a lot of stuff earlier on. Yep, really. Really, because I did a review on a certain Nerf thing. I linked it on one of those Nerf Reddits, and then they all started having a go at me, saying I used the term gun in it. I held it like you would hold a gun. The thing is, with a Nerf gun, I have no idea how you're meant to hold it if you're not meant to hold it like a firearm. Because surely you can't actually shoot a Nerf gun, can you, if you don't hold it like a gun? Well, let's have a test if it's visible. I'm going to risk it with YouTube, but I can't see it. It might be I've put it away somewhere else now. If I can't find it, that would be disappointing. Oh, no, I found it. Right. So if you're not allowed to hold it like a gun, I don't even know you'd hold it. Would you have to do this? Oh, that doesn't quite work, does it, doing that? I don't think you can fire them unless you're using like a gun. No, I'm not all that into Nerf. I just like them sort of in terms of like, air rifle messing about with sort of stuff. The problem is that you end up doing videos on them. You end up getting people who are really into Nerf stuff have a go at you because your videos aren't like, detailed enough in Nerf stuff. And then you have other people go, this isn't a real gun. This isn't a knife. No, I think it's just a lot of Reddits become very toxic places, in all honesty. It's generally the main reason I don't use Reddit. Is I found most Reddits, like not all of them, of course, but a lot of Reddit seem, and like Mike will say this if he's still in the chat, you can have Reddits that seem to be specialized in a subject, yet if you try and post about that subject, because they don't know who you are on the Reddits at that point, they sort of end up kind of just doing this weird circle jerking stuff. Battle Skin Cobra 2 or Cobra Revision, I think it's called. It's one of those helmets that has like 3 or 4 different names. What model of Nerf one is it, Fab Gaming? Because they've done quite a lot of ones over the years, haven't they? I don't think I've ever had any like magazine-fed Nerf guns. They did a really cool Nerf machine gun at one point that was kind of like an M249 kind of design, like an FN Minimi, where it actually had a proper bout-fed machine gun mechanism. But they were really expensive, so I wouldn't have bought one. Yeah, exactly right. The thing is, a lot of them have that no self-promoting rule, don't they? And that doesn't really make sense to me on Reddit, because if you're allowed to post YouTube videos, just not your own videos, how do they know that the people posting the video isn't their video, that sort of shit. And the other problem is, there might be an archery Reddit, and if you post a video of a crossbow, they get all butthurt because that's not proper archery. You have to post videos of like recurve bows or something, There's No, never even heard of it. What's it about, Pedro? Probably the PBF or the M17A2. Goku. Let's Google Nerf Retaliator then. That's pretty cool looking. The thing is, with like even the Nerf guns, right? I'm going to call them Nerf guns. Is if they give them names like Retaliator, that kind of sounds like they're made for violence, doesn't it? Oh, you can't use the word barracks in association with that M17 guy. You probably have to change the word barracks to something like vaguely similar sounding, but not. Well, it wouldn't go through the shields. The thing is, no airsoft stuff is going to go through body armor, because if it's military grade body armor or police body armor, it's going to hold up into like BBs going at 300 to 600 FPS. Well, this particular one, it can stop bullets and shrapnel. How reliably it would stop a bullet, I don't know. There's videos where these stop 7.62 by 39 and 7.62 NATO. The point is, though, at what point would your neck break or your brain hemorrhage, from a rifle round hitting it? The helmets can physically stop them. Whether or not your neck would survive the impact, I probably doubt it. Yeah, I'm sure it's just boys being boys, isn't it? Or soldiers being soldiers, messing about with stuff like that. I'm sure somewhere there's people who get offended at stuff like that. Has to ban it. That's not work, health, and safety related environment. Ah, cool. Ah, didn't know that. What's that one that's coming out fairly soon that the people who are developing it comment on the streams and sometimes in the videos now and again? It was kind of a bit like a war game European escalation kind of thing. I can't remember what it was called, but the devs were quite friendly because they kept asking me things about gas masks and like wanting to chat. I just can't remember what the game's called now, which is a bit of a shame. I'll probably go on another 5 or so minutes, Antonio. I was interested in Escape from Tarkov until the developers started doing all the pay-to-win early access stuff. Well, not early access, but they did all the different editions of the game, and the more you paid, the more kind of perks you got. And when you do that in a multiplayer game, that's just basically pay-to-win, isn't it? I know of the old DEF CON, if you mean the one that was made by the developers that did Darwinia, where it's like the old war game film, and you've got all the nukes. You play as a continent and you nuke everybody. But I think everybody loses or something was the tagline, wasn't it? Yeah, the only thing with Stalker 2 is I really hope it ends up being a good game. It's just most of the developers that worked on the original Stalker series aren't on the dev team. So whether or not it'll be good or shit, no idea. I hope it's good, because I really do hope there's more good games, than bad games. But the issue of a lot of this stuff is I'm just pretty cynical with modern video games. And sadly, I end up being proven right more than wrong when I think this game's probably going to be shit. Oh, it's shit. What about the IP46M? I don't recognise it. Is that a rebreather? Because I know like IP5 and IP4s are rebreathers. Let me Google it, IP46M, but I don't know what it is without looking. That's cool looking, so it is a rebreather. But no, I've never seen that one before. Looks pretty cool though. When was it issued then? But no, I can't tell you anything about it. It looks a bit more like the standard IP4. So. Yeah, that's a good point, to be honest, isn't it? It was Shadow of Chernobyl, then the prequel to it, Clear Sky, and then the sequel to Shadow of Chernobyl called Pripyat. None of them had numbers in the name. So yeah, you're right, it'd be the fourth game, and then the other Stalker games have numbers in it. They should just call it Stalker and then another kind of sounding title, not Stalker 1, 2, 3, 4, Stalker Remake or whatever. I already own a Shums gas mask. There's one up there, but I'm not going to get it down now, especially when I'm going off in a couple of minutes. I've not heard of a thing called Hot Game or Hot Game 83. There's Deutschland 83, which is a very good TV series. But no, it actually had a name, like a proper long name, the title, I think. But I can't remember what it was called now. That's all right, Mike. I'll watch till you finish it then, and then I'll watch a film or play a game or whatever. I'm probably not going to rush to bed tonight, although I do need to get up early tomorrow. Because the annoying thing is our regular postman's on holiday at the moment. So we had a substitute postman today. There was a signed for parcel. Our regular postman always leaves the signed for parcels in our box and just signs for them. You know, unless it's something really serious that somebody has to sign for. Because we have a substitute postman at the moment, because nobody was in to sign for it, he just, you know, took it back with him. So I'm hoping they try and redeliver it tomorrow. If not, I'll have to drive down to the sorting office after waiting in for the postman. But, you know, that's the annoying thing is when it's our regular postman, you always get your parcels because he'll just lock them securely away in the parcel box we've got and sign for them himself, you know, and that's why he gets a tip at Christmas. But yeah, as soon as you get a substitute postman, it's like, oh, you weren't in. I'm not delivering this, even though it would fit in your parcel box. Kind of tech storm, yeah. I mean, Call of Pripyat is technically a lot more polished than Shadow of Chernobyl ever was, but it's, you know, the same game engine essentially and all that. It's and like uses all the same textures and models and that. So yeah, I guess standalone expansions. It's a bit like what New Vegas is, I guess, to the original. Well, not original, but you know, to Fallout 3. So I guess you could say like Clear Sky and that, or you know, like if you've already got most of the game work there and Foundation, you have like models, textures, game engine. It's just essentially making new maps with all that, if that makes sense. Well, Bethesda, I think, thinks they can keep whipping a dead horse, don't they? Or beating a dead horse. Yeah, I hate that as well. I think the guy knocked today, Richard. It was just more of a case of they could have easily left the parcel and our normal postman would, but this postman didn't want to do it, I guess, because he's probably following all the rules. Depends how well done they are. I don't mind buying DLC packs if they're, you know, big DLC packs with a lot of content that are good value for money. If it's fucking loot crates and like reskins and shit like that, then it's, you know, shit. I think it all comes down to the quality of the stuff itself. I'll probably stream tomorrow at some point, Doggo. Oh, have you got an S6 on in your picture, Doggo? I only just noticed your picture. It's quite small, but it looks like an S6. Yes, but Gamebryo is horribly, horribly outdated and not fit for purpose. Ring and run. Ring of Fire, isn't it, if you have a curry peach? But yeah, that's quite often what I find where you're doing something, the doorbell rings, by the time you've got to the doorbell, the person's already gone. If it's the normal postman, it's not too bad because you can see them down the road and they'll just walk down the road, you know, if I do need to get something and get them. Oh, good, I guessed you're a 6, right? But it's annoying with couriers, isn't it, where they literally pull up, go to your door, ring the bell. If nobody's answered in 5 seconds because they've got so many more parcels to do, they literally sprint back to their van and speed off. There's a good Viz thing called waiting in for a fucking parcel. Let me see if I can find it before I go in. Here we go. Right, let me see if I can get it full size. But this is so true. Right, there we go. For anybody who doesn't know the game of waiting in for a fucking parcel, there you go. Oh, I think Richard got number 1, didn't he, or Peach, with the knock and run one, whatever. You see the delivery van pull up outside your house, however, before you can get to the door, the driver sprints up your path, stuffs a sorry you were out card through your letterbox, sprints back down to his van and accelerates away in the squeal of tyres. Go back to the start. I think a week or 2 ago, I had the one of you're on the shitter and the doorbell rings, and by the time you've wiped and pulled your trousers up, the driver's run for it. What do you mean, what the customs? Do you think UK customs? I don't probably have anything worth stealing for them. I sometimes get parcels that customs sit on for ages, but I've not had them steal anything in a while. Customs must like me, though, because they charge me a lot of tax from shit that I get from the US, so they're bastards in that regard. Right, I'll be off in a minute anyway. What's number 20? Let's have a look. Go outside and check your doorbell is working in. Yeah, what I always do is whenever somebody leaves the house and I'm waiting in for a parcel, I say to them, ring the doorbell as you go out, just so I can double check it's working. But yeah, it should be payday in a few days, Mike, and definitely link me again using your links, that security camera you've got, because I definitely need to get one. So mostly just so I can see if couriers have really been or not, because that's the thing I'm most skeptical of and reason. But it'd be good as well to see if people are, doing dodgy stuff around the front of the house. The main reason I want a CCTV camera for the drive is to see if the courier's telling the truth or not when they said, oh, you were out. I got a little present for you. I'll say hello to my little friend. Right, see everybody. Thanks to the people that are on and having a good chat tonight, not the people making weird trollish comments as usual. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'll be off. I'll see you on at 10 PM, Mike, for a bit of Resident Evil 0 until you finish it. That's good, Fab Gaming. Do they just let you look at it, or is it a thing of unencrypted Wi-Fi or whatever? No, I'm going off now anyway, so I don't really have time to wait for your answer. But yeah, see you. All right, bye everybody. And eBay, that's where I get literally everything military surplus related.